Good evening, Facebook and YouTube friends and followers. We're here once more with a next show in the Shop Street Talk with Gevon. And tonight we have some lovely guests here, some young people, in fact. For the longest while, we bring in the adults and we bring in the senior folks to, share the experience and the thought about life. And tonight we have some younger youths, out to this generation who are gonna resonate something for the younger youths to understand what life and the challenges of life could bring to you. We're gonna speaking about how to pursue a career tonight, and we're gonna allow these guests to introduce themselves, and then we're gonna move forward.
Yeah, good night, everyone. My name is Cleon Darlington. I'm a young entrepreneur, still looking to find my way up, still in so many ways. But yeah, nice to meet you guys.
Good evening. My name is Clement Glasgow. I feel I'm an entrepreneur also, operator there at Bosai, minister of the gospel. So and we're gonna interact as we go along.
Good night, everyone. My name is Siani Paul, and I'm a teacher. Thank you.
Yeah. So tonight we want to make this topic very interesting because they have a lot of young people out there who finding it hard to seek some sort of resolution within the self and in the spirituality, how to find a way to excel. I would say the biggest mind challenge, because most times when you're a young youth or a young child, your parents would guide you and keep assisting you. And then when you reach this stage whereby you of yourself got to make a decision within yourself to say, I feel I want this career to be my career, you know. And some people now, they would listen to friends, they would listen to, colleagues, they would look at people's stories and then say, I can't do it because he can't do it. Or I never see, I see my cousin try this thing and he didn't get through, and they start finding themselves within doubts, how to figure out their life and what they try to do for themselves. Because remember now, what most of the youth didn't understand is that whatever decision you make on the way forward, it's gonna affect your life. So if you try to seek some sort of positivity within it, because all of us here is on our part of careers that we transcending on, right? And there wasn't an easy road, even for me, because I could share my story first and then move forward. You know, coming through with the grandparents and, seeing life and at a lot of shortcomings. Because, when you're coming up with the grandparents, there ain't much for you to grandparents to offer you. Because, it's not just you alone as a child in the home, you know. And in the space and now, it was very challenging for me, because knowing that my peers keep going out there and everybody going to school and having all these nice things and so forth, and then within me, I gotta humble and just, whatever was there for me to, use up or utilize, that was the I have to deal with, but then I always saying within that I have to become somebody. I have to become somebody. I gotta seek some sort of a way. And I start keep fighting and charging within myself and within my space. Despite my grandpa used to keep telling me, Gevon, hey, what happened? You're gonna become somebody. She always keep giving me a good positive word, but still within me I used to still get, because remember, as a youth, you're still trying to excel, and life's so hard that within us, let me tell you something, children don't get it easy. More than say their wrong friends will keep throwing things at them, because I feel it's the hardest influence when it comes to youth. If you all understand what I'm saying. Right? When you see we were wrong friends and the friends them now telling you, look your boots, or you are always with this one pants, you always coming out here with this one pants, and then thing and you going out like thing, and they're belittling you, and you're losing your space. So it was very tough for me. I just share a part of my story, how it were coming up in that space. And a lot of young people, I know for a fact, still going through of such, because, the life is not bell roses, things getting hard, situations getting hard, and, youth still going through these things. So I just want to share a part from my part, and, allow these young people to give you some sort of refuge on whatever they think, how, you could change your perspective moving forward and elevate into to a career. So what do you think about the
Well, well, based on what you said, I will completely agree with you, right? But everybody get their own story to tell,
yes, indeed,
right?
indeed.
And my way, how I changed was like I would say more like in a forceful way spiritually, right? Well, first of all, let me start off by saying I ain't grew up. I can't tell big people. I ain't grew up with gold spoon
Yeah,
in my
you grew
mouth,
up with goals.
right? I grew up very I won't say poverty, but less fortunate, right? And a single mom, no, a stay-at-home mom, and a father that always go get her,
Yeah,
go get
hustler,
a hustler.
hustler. Put it in the words.
So now we grew up in the kind of lifestyle, knowing that hey, you gotta look for it and get it. So we like kind of stray away from. We didn't have like much like I would say like other children bicycle
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all
Come
these
through the
fun. Yeah, you
struggle.
come
Come
through
through the
it,
struggle. It was
right?
real.
Was real. So due to the now, we end up straying off a little bit whereby we start making decisions off of we own because we grew up at it like though, grew up looking for it, right? But time come by, we got once again more a little bit mature in the teens, and me personally, start make a set of like bad decisions,
Wrong decisions. Trying your own
same like
thing.
you said, good friends, like bad company and things. That, start drink, start partying,
Party, like too.
living, So eventually now I was going at what I should say, a speed rate. Kind of big people going fast,
Yeah.
right? You're going fast, so I had to calm down. My mother talked to me, I never used to listen. Father talked to me, I never used to listen. The only people I used to listen to is my friend them because hey, I think this is the right thing to do. And well, we're gonna get into it in a few minutes. I end up in a situation, a critical situation whereby I was
challenging.
forced to change. I had a choice. The Heavenly Father say, "Hey, this is how I gonna change you," And from then onwards, we're gonna get into the just now.
Yeah.
Everything changed, So this is just a brief rundown.
Right. Well, as Cleon did say, everybody's story is a bit different, I would say that my story is a little different, because I grew up in a spiritual home. But even though I grew up in a spiritual home, things were still a bit tight, and I could I could side with Cleon in the step that certain things you didn't have in your home, like you're outside watching other persons riding their bike. And I know for the longest while I was going by other friends for playing Nintendo because me parents couldn't afford it, right? Yeah, right. So there were many things that were shared coming growing up. But coming back to the topic about how to finding your way, it's not really an easy thing. And it takes time finding your way. I think sometimes you just gotta go through one or two things, finding your way, and then as you go through it, is know to yourself, gotta say, hey, enough is enough, like well, Clear gonna give you story, when you had to say enough is enough, because it's either you catch yourself or God said to you, you gotta pick one, right? So in finding your way, so I think is a process because not everybody find the way right away.
Yeah.
And I guess some people as they go along, they semi it's time I change my life and humble out certain things and pursue whatever vision they may have, or maybe a career or something. As I say, it's not tough um pursuing whatever you might have. Some of us have dreams, and you're so caught up with friends, you're so caught up with the life, the fast life, as Cleon was saying, that you forget about your dreams, you forget this. I think
You want to follow the trend.
you want to follow the trend.
Yeah, the trend
And
of the world.
the thing is, I'm gonna come a little biblical. According to the Bible, there all of us have purpose. God placed a purpose in each and every one of us, and it's up to you and me to say, hey, I gonna pursue that purpose. But if you see you get caught up with the fast life, that's when you're gonna reach in a bit and get distracted, and it slow you down on reaching the purpose because you're busy running after everything that is not important. and rather than running after your career. And as you said, wherever your decision you make now will affect your future. So even if you find your way, you might still get some things you're going to deal with because, if you used to drink something, you get sick. When you find your way now, you got to deal with the sickness where you get when you over drink. I mean, we get when you drink too much, is get diabetes and all that fancy thing.
The thing is corrosive liver. Corrosive liver.
Well, I hope somebody out there listening you realize, say, hey, you got ease because me want to get you what?
Corrosive liver.
All right. Right. So, yeah, the as the topic saying, it's pursuing, you gotta stay focused
Stay
right
focused,
now.
stay
It's all about staying focused, and that's what I want to encourage somebody right now with. It's about staying focused. Everybody's story is gonna be real different, but at the end of the day, we have purpose, and I get things we come on this earth to do, and we gotta get it done, not just running around and doing anything. So I'm gonna hand the mic over to my sister that should take it from here.
Okay, good night again. For me, continuing with what everyone might have said, I think staying focused is really a good thing. In order to meet where you want to be, you have to stay focused, right? And on your path to where you want to be, there will be some ups and downs, right? It could be with friends, could be family burdens, but it's all a transitioning process, right? And with that, you just gotta put your mind to what you want, right? Because they're going to keep coming. Even when you meet where you want to be, there are things that are still going to keep coming, right? And you have to get your mind on the right path and locked in, like Gevon would say, right? You have to stay locked in to what you want, right? And for me, I had my ups and downs. Everybody coming to that part. But yes, stay focused, stick to the plan, right? I have one of my friend Joel. He always saying stick to the plan, right? So I encourage all of you viewers to stick to the plan.
So you see, this is the thing, right? Within me, let me be more proud. I'll be proud of everybody that comes in here tonight because I understand the effort that you are putting. I gotta put this out there for us, for our Father, right? I give you all a wonderful, wonderful clap to coming and supporting the channel, coming and supporting this venture, to assisting these youths. We're finding ourselves in misleading situations because let me be honest here, they have a lot of parents and a lot of grown folks keep saying these children are always on this way and them children listening and them children this. But they gotta understand children don't just come up just like that. You understand? If you don't put the right effort and the right emphasis to these children to show them, because let me be honest, we parents was that much impactful when it comes to like putting the foot down. We know what the challenges was for us, and then enough of us, despite we lose a little bit of where we stepped off, we still understand why our mother used to keep saying one thing, So, to be honest, within me, I know one of the biggest downfall for kids in general is friends. The biggest downfall is friends. Friends so much influential that they will torment the living daylight out to you. And when you see you are being belittled in the society that you're not finding friendly and comfortable, sometimes you go out to your space. And you go out to your way to do something just to feel like you're there within. And, a lot of us could emphasize on such. Because they got a lot of youths, because they may get a good bag, or because they may get good shoes, or because they may not this up there to say, they look down at themselves. Not knowing that the ones who start at the bottom, they end up at the top. And the one who start at the top, they end up at the bottom. You understand? So the youths out there, I want you to understand. Struggles is to build you, not to break you. The ones who got it easy don't understand what it is like to gain something with appreciation. They just gain it and easily, hand it to them. And we could talk about that, So get some children that's go through some stuff whereby the parents is giving them everything, and wanting this child to exceed a perfect life. And when the child reaches a stage, they don't know how to even challenge their own self. Because it never works for go out like we used to do. Enough we gotta clean the yard before we go out and we gotta be here for the whole week. And if one time we just go out to let the mommy feel like, hey, this ain't really working for me, you keep doing the same thing or you keep going back on the same path, one strike off, you ain't going to do tonight. Or they allow you to put on your clothes. And then they're gonna say, hey, you remember when all your friends are in front of the yard and calling you, but you ready to be along? And then you remember you was to do something to tell you and you didn't do what I said. And then, well, this is payback time. Go along in your room. You know what I mean? So we could put an emphasis on that particular thought with the youths who getting guidance from kids or spouse or friends.
Well, I give you a quick little story. Our friend very much, could influence you to do the bad things, right? And it all depends on the type of friends you align with. Cause we ain't blaming all our friends because the type of friends we align with.
Yeah, they have some good friends.
Good friends that will tell you.
To say such, they have some good friends. I could tell you, they got some buddies. Right? And they got some sissies to say. That's hold you. When they see you going to the line and say, hey, you was not the type, oh, you went up there. And they would talk to you. So you still got to give kudos to the ones them that all in and embracing their friend. Right?
Good. So, this was, since prime school days, little prime grade 5 or grade 6, as much as, we grew up with it all, I grew up in a fair garden house. Not to do this, right from wrong and bam, 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 thing, right? So there in my yard playing with my little thing, and I ain't calling him, a friend come and say, hey, you got the shop wrong, so this is how this man is left him money and thing. But the way how this man, the way how this individual come and put over the story, it sound good to me.
Convincing.
Man, you can get a cut, I can take a cut. Sweet, I tell you, sweet. I said, alright, I don't really depend on these things, but because you're my friend, I'm gonna do a thing for you, do a hustle for you. So we gone upon the hustle now, and he do the most bad part, and I do the good part in a way which is hard to be bad because but in me mind it was a good. But I tell you, I was the lookout. See, me mind I do no bad. I do kind of little,
the accomplice pays the
man, talk it again. So when eventually happen now, I can't make people. Your story catch up with you, trouble come. So when the trouble come now, this individual now, my claim for me is my good friend, turn around the old story and say, he do me part and I do he part, which he take and he was the lookout, I said, what boy? He said this thing serious friend. And thing from that day onwards, never again, because from the moment it mission my parents, it's licks left, right and center. I said,
the best part of it is that you didn't get jail.
I tell you.
You didn't get jail despite yourself. So it was a good lesson.
Out of the story, don't follow friends because friends could play a good part and a bad part in life. It left up to you. And people say, be a leader and not a follower. And out of all of them, no matter what situation you meet in life, whether what situation you got part of the world, I always remember this, no situation in life is permanent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is like key big thing for me. This is why it's left out for. So now coming down on the parents part, this it's according to how your parents bring up. No, you make it sure, but you make the mind. I don't really believe in that too much because your parents display a vital part in bringing up a child.
Right. I support 200% on that.
I believe in that.
100%.
And I see growing up due to the lack of the presence of parents in females' life, and I don't go too much on the male. Cause I don't know they say I lose my boy we's man.
Yeah,
but female
lack
of your effort, but I know about knowing that a lot of females, due to the lack of the father being wrong or the mother being wrong, they do a lot of wayward stuff. And when you listen, because they get left,
to the wolf.
stray, so the parents play a big part for influence you on what's not and what's not. So, hand over the mic.
All right. Well, I can talk the flip side of what Cleon said. I'm talking the good side. I was like feeling miserable at school, especially farm one and farm two. Feeling like never really taking things as much as serious because well, my parents them wasn't like this pushy person, like go get your book, them things. So for me now, when I feel like take me book, I take me book.
Yeah, because they've been demanding.
Right.
And I cut to you, but there's a parents fail to do because sometimes the children need a little push, But not because it's a PLS start to it, the child just take it as an exception to say, why you gonna do it this stuff?
Yeah. And because of well, I won't blame them too much because my parents wasn't so much of an educated person.
Okay,
But I mean they still could have done some more, right? But what I coming at is that, for me, I wasn't taking it as serious as I should. And after feeling, trying to realize why am I feeling so much? Everybody getting ahead in life, and you don't know time with them play. Matter if you feel pass, you gotta get it right.
You gotta
Right.
our generation. So Thomas, you have to clap you for holding our generation together.
Yeah.
Right?
So there are no automatic promotion with the and them thing though. So you gotta get it right. So I don't know, and I know it's why I'm feeling, and then I realize is what happening is the company I was around, they also had some sort of influential on that because when it's time to pick up your book, I either go and play, I either go and write and wrong with them. I doing other things whereby I supposed to be picking up a book. Me get time with homework and these kind of things. And it so happened that, the right set of people I start liming around. People that they IQ'd up on a neck. Right?
Set of people here.
And then I realized, Clement, like if you really want to start exceeding, these are the people you got there wrong. And I tell you, but I did in this class 2 years, and making sense, brother. Being there for turn grandfather in the school tight. Right? They're homework serious. I say, yo, you got pull up, especially if you want to line around them.
Yeah.
You can't like no duns by. You got know what's going on.
Because back then, I'm cutting you, but back then Duns was a big deal. Right now, Duns is famous.
Yeah.
You know that?
That's a thing now.
The girls are like Duns, guys too.
Fully Duns.
Back in the days, when you Duns, them you are telling you you're Duns. I never like you as that.
Yeah.
No matter if you get looks.
Yeah.
Duns. Duns of fire.
That kind of thing.
There was like it was
No fully dance is a thing nobody
That is a good thing. And this was you see what they're back for?
So
No morals.
every time was different. It's all back of the class.
Back in the class. Everybody got back
No,
in
the
the class.
So what I'm trying to say, they were able to influence me and help me to, hey, Clement, do your homework. Clement, hey, we gotta go and study. And they were pushing me to get better. And I was able to pass after farm 3 straight, even accomplish CXC and still going. And I'm really grateful for them for that push because, as I said, the first set of friends I was around, they wasn't taking it that serious.
Yeah.
And I was liming around. I tell you, liming around friends in the night, around 9 with that thief and coconut kind of thing. I say at the time, we taking books serious and them thing. We get time books.
Fun.
Well, yeah, I can't scrape. Now we do scraping them time.
What you have to tell you, we are on a script timing. They know you that I think that walk past.
Yeah.
Your life just so perfect.
Yeah.
All the time we find little negative into
Yeah, we stray away a little.
Yeah.
Stray away a little. But it's all about, as I said, it's all about getting yourself
find back.
And that's what happened with me. So it's a little opposite with Cleon. I mean, I did have some friends who I did listen to and go astray and do stubbornness with. As I said, we there picking coconut in the night, 9 o'clock people and it's war falling. We just play for not like we want any coconut. We just get nothing to do, pelting people rooftop and everything. No, me tea for not me man. No man. Right. So, it's all about you positioning yourself around the right set of people. Positioning them so that if you to move up in life, they were able to help you and give you the wisdom you need so that you could pursue whatever you want to pursue. Yeah.
Thank you. Good night again. Uh, it was a roller coaster. Sorry, a whole roller coaster for me. However, I started learning about my mistakes when I hit Farm 1. Because in primary school, I had a very good friend, right? Mischievous, we doing the world. When school over, we gotta pick up Owara and then come back to school, sell it out, then stay for lesson. We had a ball. We made money in this process. Yes, real partner. And then when it was time, let's say NGSA, we didn't get the school we wanted to. However, we went to same school, different level in the Farm 1, right? And then I ended up picking up two other friends. She and I end up separating, right? The friendship ended up breaking off. We still good, but not as good as we once were. And with these two friends, they motivate they motivated me a lot, right? They motivated me to be a better person to where I was to then. I would have increased a lot in my learning, right? And for that, I am still grateful for them, right? But when it came down to CXC, I didn't do as well as I wanted to do, right? And they still say, man, you could move on to better, right? Yeah, both of them. They encourage me to do better.
They find a way to give you that level of encouragement.
Good. I end up going to multi, right? I have a new set of friends, right? With these set, I I wouldn't say that they were bad and I wouldn't say what they were good, right? But they encouraged me as well. Why are you smiling?
Everybody even more.
No, I don't.
Good. I went there and I made up with them, and they weren't in the position to say that, man, these are the persons I want to become, when it comes to learning. However, they had a few high flyers that I would have always looked up to. And I said, man, even though I'm lining with this set, I want to be as good as them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, looking from where I was to where they were, I always encourage myself to do better than what I was doing,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And just looking at them just to get a sense of direction, I came out successful, right?
Yeah.
My friends, they came out successful in some areas, but I came through, right? And
Yeah.
I very much thank God for it. Because I said, man, look the crew I like me with, and look where I want to be, man. Or I could meet where I want to be, and this is the people I like with. But I showed them, as much as these are the things, the foolish stuff we were doing, right? You could still meet where you want to be,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Life.
all in all, sometimes people might say it's the people alignment wrong, might bring you down. But I think in all is your mindset towards where you want to be.
Yeah.
Because even though they weren't the crew that I wanted to be with, or they weren't as pushy and had the mindset to say, man, when they go to book and pen, they could do their stuff. They weren't that.
So they didn't
Right?
find in themselves mentally.
They weren't as strong.
Mentally.
Right, good. When it comes to book and pen. But you know what? I looked at the crew that always stop at the game. And I said, man, as much as I doing this, I gotta do better.
You gotta do better.
And when it's time to see again, I know I did better than what I once did.
Yeah.
Right? And my mother especially always enforced that on me. Right? I'm the eldest. And we were talking about bicycle just now. Who I was looking, well, we had one bicycle, right? And it was called the Green Lizard, right? It was four. It was four of us at that time before my little brother come into play, right? And when I had to go and pick them up after school, I used to be the one riding. My sister at the back, pushing if you're going up a hill, and one of the boy on the handle and the other one on the bar. So right? So when we coming through, everybody say, overload, overload. But it was fun for us. It was very much fun. We found fun in it. Right? As much people might say, they're struggling and so on, we they're looking at us up. We find the fun in it. And each and every one of us laugh every time we come and treat. We even made people on the way laughing us. Yeah. And they said, look how we bringing joy to these people and they must deal with their own stress. Just seeing us. Right? And I said, man, I just thank God for that period of time in my life because it taught me so much. And sometimes you need to go through the struggle in order to grow. Yeah, you gotta walk that walk. Because if you get in goal spoon all the time, you won't know how hard it is to be or how hard to what you want, right? Yeah, so good. So I find it very empowering to myself and others to, get that strength. Yes, the motivation to grow, right? And with my parents, you were talking something about parents just now before you talk about your friends.
How do everybody influence you or how the role they play in your life?
Yeah, well, I think I mentioned that. Yeah, my mom was the backbone, right? My mother and father, we then had a wonderful home. You know, it was a bit broken. However, we pushed through it all, right? And me being the eldest, I had to help with the little ones, my twin brothers, my sister, and I. We pushed through a lot with them, even when they didn't want to learn. Now we still used to do it, and when they get frustrated, we left them until they're ready, and then they come back and then, just to get what is it they can't learn on their own, right? So I think is the surrounding your environment has a lot to do with who you are and your upbringing. However, I think as much as your environment could be as low, or they won't be like, let's say, the wealthiest of the wealthiest, right? But your mind, I think your mind has a lot to do with it. Because as I was saying, my crew wasn't the best, right? And I know I wanted better. My mind allowed me to be better. Because if I stayed with them and I do as they do, a mean portion, then I would be like the crew. But if I didn't have certain achievement that I want to make, I wouldn't have been successful. Yes, and who I am today. So all in all, your mind, as I keep saying, your mind and sticking to the plan.
On mind and the next topic we heading on to, right? Now, well said, well said. Because when it comes to friends, what we don't understand, right? For me, friends is like a second parent to you. The second is either a second motivator or second downfall. And I had one incident I had with a close friend, a buddy friend from since we were very small. We comes up together. We had a call. We used to call when he wanted to signal. He used to say, oh, oh. And then he said, oh, oh. This is how far he come from, right? And then I know we meet him pint. When I send the signal, he sent the signal, and we know we meet him pint. And one day we went to fishing. We finished fishing actually all day and we used to field for catfish, right? And then we decided to get hungry, say we gotta raid a farm because we hungry bad. So I always was the brave one, and he decided to I had two incidents with the same person. Let me tell you. So I got in the people farm, I crawling. They had a big fence, and I decided to be picking watermelon and muskmelon. So as I crawl on the belly. So as I roll it through the fence, and when he reached through, he touching me and said, collect. So I picked but two, I rolled through the fence, and he touched me hand. And then when I go back for the next one, I rolled through, I said, collect. He see me here, nobody said nothing. I said, hey, collect. I realized no voice. There's our friend is, you know. So when I raise up, he might run again. When I turn back, he even telling me a guy coming with a cutlass, you know.
What?
The owner for the farm coming with a cutlass running, coming to me, and he running going away. He even said, run or nothing. That's how friend is. Right? So when I look back, so now, I said, oh shit. So I jumped to the hill now, and I tear out behind me. So I reach behind, you know, I put some knock upon it. I said, why could you go and make me that? You see, a lot of people don't understand how friend is. Imagine literally all he could have said is, hey, run. He literally left me there. You understand? Yeah. And then the same friend now used to influence me for Jack school. He never used to like go to school. So some days he used to say, hey, me and Theo is free, but let me go and watch movie all day and drink and eat. So we got over there, you know, your teeth will get away for one time. So I used to be in there. Next thing I know, that time the education officer come and pick up children. This in the early 2000. So when the education officer come now, like somebody telling they get 2 by 11. So when they come in now, he started one crying. Because they were going to lock you, they said, can you buy school? That was the target, you can buy school. I was always brave. I said, buy me, can buy school. Father, me, can nowhere today. They got breaking this house, forget me. Happens that I end up, he start crying and I end up put 2 thump in it. And then people here, like, I put it on, I say, shut your mouth, man, shut your mouth. And then the people said, they're going for the police. So they end up walking out back and left me. So they walk out back, I just a turn in now, but they say, run, let me run. So we end up going for escape. And then we start back going in school. But that's how friends is. I could tell you that's my part. Yeah. I could have got my debt. Plus the people come and carry me by school. True friends. You know, so we all had paths that we walk. Yeah, and at it tough. And then we realize, hey, this ain't adding up. We got to change this perspective. Now, back on what you're saying, based on influence when it comes to your mind, I feel with parents, they need to start showing more emphasis and more structure to a child mindset. Because where the program is or where it comes from, there's where they gravitate. It's either it comes on the phone or it comes from friends. But if a parent keep being there, just how every other thing is there, the child suck into you are a leader to this child. Your career, your life, your well-being, your attitude is a program to this child. So whatever you do with inside of whatever you put out there around that child suck in to say, by me father is of such and is a highly respectable person, and I wanna make him proud. You know? Same as the mothers, right? And what people don't understand, the biggest challenge in any human being life is their mind. You know, he snaps in seconds because it's how fast it make decisions. All right. Now, if you can overcome or challenge yourself to, you know, your mindset, because a lot of people don't understand, you could talk to yourself. You could talk to yourself. When you're doing something wrong, you could stimulate it back to say, hey, you know what? I'm doing something wrong, you know. And then you question yourself. Like some people say you're mad, but you gotta understand, you got inner thought. The same inner thought that talks to you, you could talk back to the inner thought and resonate yourself like, hey, but this thing ain't making sense. I keep going at this. And then, you know, within you, because they're saying, if you could challenge your inner thought and gain the resolution within yourself and say, you know what, I think I go in the wrong way, or this is the wrong way. I'm going to change our perspective. And you start finding self-motivation to challenge your mind, because a lot of people don't challenge your mind, you know. And this is the biggest weakness. It's not your friend. Your friend can tell you something. But within you, you got to take that in, and then you have to know to process it and multiply it. When you make a decision, and the decision is wrong, and you follow suit with that, that means that you fail yourself. Nobody didn't fail you. You take the decision and you multiply it. So when you could talk to your inner thought and a decision come to you to say, hey, what, they making sense, you know? This way you start talking, it's like, hey, they making sense, you know? You know what? Me doing though. This way, you know, you could conquer yourself and conquer your mind. And I feel it's one of the biggest downfall within kids. And a lot of parents now, as we saying before, concerning the youths that getting things easy. They don't know what they're doing to these kids.
Yeah, but not cutting you the same way, but a lot of parents get this mindset whereby 3 rules them is what I live by. They say, so as long as I feed you, clothe you, and shelter you, here, my story done, the responsibility covered it.
Yeah.
No. I noticed enough time when you meeting some problem, I say, oh, and you gonna learn, don't have to do it again. Not everybody's learn how to licks and them thing you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you meeting a problem or you know it's time for correct that person, it's best to put them like how we reasoning here, so and talk to that girl or talk to the boy some man, wait, do this wrong. Why you do this is wrong, explain XYZ, what could be the consequences, so they're going don't know, oh, this will be the outcome if I do this again. Not just licks alone and go and make this, you know,
Yeah,
change.
yeah.
And so some parents just think, alright, I don't feed you, clothe you, shelter you. This me main thing. You gotta make him, you know, it's not like that. Cause I know enough females, like I'm gonna emphasize on enough females right now due to the lack of communication with the parents. They're making a lot of bad decisions, like the
Plus
she
respect,
mentioned.
not just
Exactly.
communication, because
You
you
know?
have some parents, I ain't cutting, but they have some parents who do negative things in front of the kids.
Correct.
And through the kids lose respect and think that they're adult too.
So I got a lot to play because you can tell me, oh, we just saying something. I know my father don't live with me. You're bringing in this individual, that individual. You're telling me this is my uncle. Every night is your uncle, this is your uncle. So,
So the guy,
you know, it's you know when children see this what them is feeding the brains is oh this is my uncle. So, and you notice
that means that
uncle.
So what you're saying is that the mother bringing in a lot of males
Correct.
into the home and saying it's a family
member and
but the children observing that because
our
family member
child
don't
brain
connect to
developing
one
same
another.
way too, you know.
Yeah. So,
A child brains is be developing and all this learning process, so them taking in though, you know. But if you set up for this child for set up a reason and say, man, this is the reason I bring in Palm, Jana, Arif, or whatever, they might understand. They might understand.
This, hold on. I gotta get this back just now. I feel, I wanna, listen, I wanna correct the part because I wanna allow a parent to run away with the idea to think that what they're doing and bringing the kids to understand what they're doing is right.
Correct.
Because remember now, what children sees they gravitate to. So if you dating and you know that because you're an adult, and you know that hey, this child could take a thing negative. You have to know how you're dating now. Whereby if you're not, hey, well, me house is off limits.
Yeah.
So despite of whatever you're doing, still try to keep the respect in the boundaries where it's supposed to be. You don't have to bring 3-4 persons by your house. I ain't saying that I live in your life, but respect your kids. Wherever more you want to do, wherever we want to go. And I'm not saying and telling you well it's right to do, but they get some people say you can't live me life with me. But what I'm saying, respect your kids. Don't try to entertain certain entities around your kids and expect them to be the best and giving you that respect. You understand what I'm saying?
I want to ask you a question. Now, that's the boundary with the home.
With the home, yeah.
Now, let's say they're constantly meeting at hotels, right? Persons around the area who know the mother. Now,
Kids. Or
No.
big people.
big people will know the mother, right? And get children that plays with her children. Now she speaks these things, or the person who sees these different moves tell the kids, and those kids tend to trouble her kids. How do you think they will deal with that? Tell me.
Well, you see, this is the reason why we keep saying that know how to find your space to respect your kids. Because now, when it comes down to disrespect within the kids, is more effective. What we don't understand is that when children and children trouble each other, they hold on to the grievance for a very long time. Right? Now, as I was saying before, I'm not putting it out there so the parents could think that they could do the negative and feel they're doing anything good for the kids. What I'm saying is that if you find yourself in a situation whereby you're in a relationship on the outskirts, try your utmost best. Look around your environment where you're going to create effect to these kids. You understand? Because you can't, more or less, you can't wear someone's clothes, going on the road and your friends, your son friend looking at you and then saying, hey, your mother this, then within a parent, they know. I literally, if I gonna put myself out there, the effect is on my kid. And my afternoon coming. So you know that, hey, if I keep going in a hotel in the daytime and people see me, a word gonna share. And when the word share, it might show a bad sign on the kids. You know within yourself what wrong you're doing and where it could bring the effects from. Right? So you going to hotel and going all over and then you're creating the differences between the public space that your children dwells. You know literally once it goes out there, the children they get an effect after it. You understand? And we all know that because when we were small, we used to say, mother say, hey, you see the children over there? I'll go over there and play. Because they are there. They might give you the full details because you were a child. I know back, they never give you the full, they give you in. They say, you see the yard there? Me know why in the yard there. You understand? Because of I don't go over there. Anything you say over there? All right. So we understand on that particular perspective.
Don't go over there. The yard. Then girls get set of mind. What I want to emphasize on is that the certain things you don't do in front of the children, indeed. Because let's say for a guy who knocks maybe his wife or his child mother. Let's say you have a boy child, he will grow up, might be thinking it's cool to do it. It's cool to beat your mother or your spouse or some if they rank tag, get them a two or up and what's not. In some cases, some boys do grow up and say, hey, me want to be like my father. But many of the cases, if you realize that the guys they grow up just to be just like their father, right? So this also shows that the effects it does whatever you do, it do affects the children.
Yeah.
This do show if you as a I know friends who man say, hey, he father lash nothing by. Much as me got lash nothing too. So again, they show you that whatever you do will reflect on your kids. So so as you're saying, we should not just buying things and giving them, but as what Cleon said, we should be encouraging them. So what I want to say is that, we can't just talk the talk. You gotta walk the walk. You understand? See, even if you're telling your kids, man, you gotta stop doing this and stop doing that, they must not only hearing it, they must seeing it, and they're gonna help able to encourage them. They get I think they maybe get several way of language. Language is talking, and I get next one by showing.
Yeah.
Right? And if they hearing it and they seeing it, as eventually they say, yo, I gotta get myself together. Because me parents is like this. Me parents strict. As I heard you were saying something around the same scenario. So again, it shows that the parents of the effect on a kid. So if you want your child grow up good and all loving, you gotta play your part. You got not only talk, but you gotta show walk the walk.
There's rules. Remember now what we know in our time is that every little thing that we do within the boundary of our home, and because every home had a rule. If you reach your friend and you go to the east, say bye, I gotta go back by a certain time. More or less, we know that if your friend say, hey, let me go cross the hill now, and say bye. If I go cross there, mommy gonna tear me ass tonight. Me kind of, So this how we know where our parents used to create the effect. Because the sternness we know within us that we definitely couldn't do it. Or if we do it and we get one time, somehow or the next time it is reached back. Right? So we know our chances, but same way we understand the effect of a parent because
I don't know what to say this. In maybe the 90s and the 2000s, it was a little more easier to raise a child because it's not just the parent raising the child, yeah, the whole community raising the child. I can remember one time I was with friends again, and these guys were cussing, and I said, you know what? Maybe it's cool. Let me start cussing. Me know nothing about cussing, but it just felt nice.
Yeah.
Cussing, every little thing. What the mother are you tearing off? So I remember I remember one day.
What's about
No, no, it's a little different. But I was with the guys, we walking on the road, and something happened. And I say, yeah, I got pelt a cuss it. Pelt a cuss. Ain't realize a lady walking over the road heard me. Wait, Clement? I gonna tell you, father. And mind you, I don't know, like the conviction right there hit me, and I was like, after today, I ain't doing it because this is not me, and this is not what me father, me parents stand for, because of what she did there.
But I ain't cutting you, right?
Uh-huh.
Hold on, Mike, I ain't cutting you. What I'm gonna tell you now is that the reasons why they resonate within you is because we're already stimulated in the house.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't know of the fear that you're going home to, with the message that's gonna reach before you, you will still continue.
Yeah, I would have still been cussing me because I feel
Because
something cool.
some children say, she could go tap.
Me parents gonna do
Me
nothing.
parents ain't really, me parents, she could tap. Me can tell you though. Yeah.
Yeah, and those the things that I tell myself, and if you don't believe me, you could even ask my classmates them. Hey, you can't cuss around Clement because that's how I stay. Hey, and after then it rippled down like, hey, if a man cuss around me, them and themselves will be like, hey, don't cuss around Clement, because I don't know, after the day I said, nah, bye. This is not what me parents stand for, and this is what we family stand for. So I trying to say, back then it was a bit easy because the surrounding used to look out for the child.
Yeah.
Especially if I know your parents, I gonna pull you up.
Yeah.
And then you can't go complain to your mother. And the message going to before you even reach home. Says licks, double licks. Right? But now, even if I know your parents are passing straight, not me, you, nobody cuss me or anything, right? And that's what's going on now. So it's really more pressure now upon the parents. I wouldn't say like pressure, but it's more hard on the parents now. You got the guys that gotta work more harder no these days to raise a child. And I mean, if you want a good child, that's what you gotta do. You gotta put in the work. So it's just an encouragement to them is that, hey, I mean, first you could allow your children to do it as a one because you don't know everybody gonna pull them up.
I think
But it's you turn now.
what I'm saying, right? When it comes to parents, it's not harder. They get lazier. There's a difference.
If you get lazy,
right? No, why you gonna say they get lazier? Because, and I want our parents to hear me. I don't want nobody bash me, but I'm talking the reality, right? Now, what I want to see is that within our space and our time, that was our time. You riding on a bicycle and crying you to up a hill, you understand the level of depression and strain, and you used to find it as fun. But that was hard because you got to find your way home with the bicycle. Now these kids have cars, they have excessive stuff to the rich. There ain't nothing that these children would get up tomorrow and cry for because they have it. So there ain't nothing hard about the space. It's other with the children, the parents now is like they say, you know what? If I give them the phone and they're in the car now, me job done. So they deny themselves a parental guidance to these kids. You understand what I'm saying? So there ain't nothing hard now to you. All you need to do is redirect the sternness within the home and let these children know that I am the parent.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. And what I stand for, there's the rules that I have to follow. Nobody, the parents give up their position. The parents are being friends with these kids. No. Good. Now, how you could set things harder within when we know breadfruit, but we fed up eat breadfruit.
No, I ain't getting around. What I'm saying, right? Is that, I mean, as much as the community needs to build each other. No, it's not the community. The community is you gotta do your work.
Plus, because of ignorant parents. Because sometimes you gonna say something bad, but the child, which is the child,
no, they're abusing you back.
They're abusing you. They
So
got ignorance into
that's the point I was coming from. That is you gotta bring up your channel. Not no community no more. Things different right now.
Everything's gone to haywire.
Yeah, but we still will encourage them to do what they gotta do because, as I said, the bringing up the child depends on you. For you, make the sturdiness. You gotta know what this child listening to, what this child watching, and what's not. All depend upon you right now to bring up the child in what to the best you do, so that child could be, a good person.
Yeah, and another thing too. Well, I was communicating with a young lady a couple days back, and due to the lack of her father, was her mother is a go getter same way, but due to the lack of her father, he throw down himself and he start get bad habits and things. So what eventually happened now? She eventually be the one like for like like the breadwinner for the family. If you understand the
mother.
situation, no, the young lady. Cause remember the mother now in she meet fire in school. She hustling, like you know. But the father was the backbone. But
So
due
you say the
to
young lady finished school?
yeah, she finished school. Yeah, but he ain't really play no part in the young lady life. So it reach a level whereby she ain't like him, right? And she even wish that her father wasn't in her life anymore. Like she wish death on him and them things. So when I listen to she, I could hear the pain in her voice because he feel the part as a father, and due to the not just that alone, that is eventually lead now on actually children being suicidal because remember they're trying the best. So them eventually become like a part of the family, like bringing in thing now for feed the family because they had to drop out of school for because of the struggle, you know. And due to the pressure, remember this not them role, it's the parents' role. And due to the pressure put on top of them now, they start they get forced, right? If you understand, like they know they get forced
right?
for mature the force to get mature fast. You understand?
In a situation that they have
So
to take
back to the point is like the parents
feel them.
fail them, you know.
Right? Now, there's a very good topic you emphasize on there, you know, because let me be honest here. We talked about this last week whereby parents who make kids for their personal gain, right? Now, within the situation, my brother, enough people don't understand what's a parent criteria, you know. Because you get some big people, they just make children, but they don't understand where's the criteria of how to be a parent. More or less, they never excel to the level and the knowledge of what parenting should be like. You know? Because what I can tell you about that is that when I learned that they get some big man still is by. Because when you go to talk to a big grown man or you expected him to teach you and then he telling you the ignorance, you asking yourself, is what this man really telling me? Or what this woman really telling me? You know? And this when you know that enough of them then grow past the teenager lifestyle into adulthood. When you go into adulthood, you understand your responsibility by all cost. So anytime you find a person with kids that just ain't doing what they're supposed to do, literally within you, you don't know that this person is not in the space because to me they got like three stages in life. I know baby stage your parents take care of you, right? But when you start growing from 10, the certain responsibilities, traits just start comes there, right? That's when you reach 10. And when you reach like 13, 14 or 12, 13, 14, you get a stage whereby you're going through a different trimester of where you want to become. And when you reach to the level of 17, 18, you start picking a career specifically. And you're saying, I want to become this. And you know, we used to always wish to say, hey, when I reach up this age, I gonna become, or I want to get this thing. I want to get 2 car, big house, all kind of fantasy, you know. Which we know this now we know it's kind of impossible because if you didn't put in the effort and the work, you was just thinking of it. There's not a reality. It's not work behind it. So what I'm saying is that most people stick in a teenager excellence stage and never surpass it. And to surpass it is when you understand that, or turn a parent whereby you're saying, hey, me children I gotta eat, do or die. Me children I gotta get certain things, do or die. That's what parents supposed to be like. So when you get up in the morning, everything is thrown on the table and you say, hey, I going out on the road. Despite it impossible, today it got to be possible because within me, I fighting to the bottom of the bone for me kids. That's what parents supposed to be like. That's where you know that you're there as a parent. But when you see a parent saying, and sit back, you realizing that this parent is not in the parental stage. They still they just make this child and thinking that life gonna plays its part and everything gonna be good. So you understand where it comes when it comes to difficulties within these parental mindset. Right? When you see a man going out there and do it, you know, hey, the man respect you and he respect your kids. When you see a man not doing it, that means that you elevate, or you never been taught to elevate, because some people never get taught to elevate. Some people get pampered to a spot and left.
Plus,
Farmer
sometimes
not saying anything and so.
we say some parents says watch other people how to bring up the parents, but remember those other people set them level for bring up and cheering them. Sometimes they're more fortunate, right? And then watch them on and be like, "Why I wish my child was like that, whatever, whatever, whatever." You say so. Don't know in the car, and okay, see this happen before. So we eventually happen. Remember the child. Sometime the child giving it ihal or shahal for your best ability for exceeding life, but due to you in your confidence in this child, you talking petty thing like why you couldn't be like that, or you it's like the child all
Yeah,
is
you don't
not
talking,
you
you
don't
own
talking.
child.
So
Yeah.
don't know intent for bring down the
The child
child
yeah.
confidence in the self,
Yeah.
and I see that affect enough young people now these days because the parents ain't giving them the kind of support. It's not gotta be
Support and-
financial raise, but verbally, So there's another thing I would like for parents out there, no matter I can't big people, me not show away me bad one for nobody good one.
Yeah.
So if the most you could advise your
Just
child
give
for
them encouragement.
encouragement, that is carry them a lot because that is affect them. Words, the kind of people words get more than power. So they play a big part.
Um, I just want to put this out there because I felt like, like some parents might feel like we're beating them, right? But we're not really here to at least for me, we're not beating. I mean, we know they get some parents going through some real struggles, bro. Some real struggles, some single parent, the mother, the next meal come from your salary baby getting them by and what's not. It's hard, sometimes it's frustrating. You don't get work, you don't get this, you're dealing with, and then this botheration child. And there's so much going on. But we're just trying to emphasize in all that whatever you're going through, still take the time out to look out for your child, still take the time to bring them up the right way. Don't just, even though you're going through, don't just like let them grow out of want. But spend the time in their life also, make the certain sacrifice so that in the end, they mightn't just turn up like you. They can make you proud. They could grow and say, hey, even though things were struggling, even though things wasn't there how we wanted it, I still grew up to get my education. I still grew up to be a good person. So there's the more emphasis that we try to reach out. We ain't bashing that, they're not parents that are not pushing or not trying.
Because indeed,
Yeah.
we are here to prove to the world that our parents did a good job. So we still have to,
Even though, everything wasn't here one. They did a good job.
Yeah, we parents did a good job.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. When it comes to my mother, right? I'm going to talk about my mother, right? When I first joined the teaching, CPC, right? It was just fun for me. Everything I went through the first semester, second semester, fun. Third semester, I ended up failing due to following friends. Now I get a good friend, right? He's very popular then, right? I did it.
No, no, I'm saying she laughed at this friend though. It's like she put those down here at this friend. Speak your mind.
Man,
Yeah.
my friend taught me how to drink. Exposed me to everything. Let me tell you something. When my mother looking for me after college over, she can't find me. Where you that girl? I'm on the road with this friend. Tongue got the tongue with his friend. Every time we in the home. We didn't live in home. Here I tell you. It just collect stuff and gone. You didn't find But after both of us end up failing, right? But what he did, he carried me to church. And that was Calvary Temple. There was, I can't remember the sister name. Nevertheless, she encouraged us. Man, stop, man.
Yeah.
She encouraged us to know, man, you might get a setback now, but if you really want this profession, go for it. Or if you don't, you find what you want. He ended up branching off.
It's your word could bring you back to the right place. Once you get the right essence.
And he carried me to that person. So, nevertheless, it was a fun first time going towards this profession. But the second time, I came through successful. And now, my mother is just trying to say, you see now, if it ain't coming, what are you doing? You getting a salary, you got to thank God for me, you know? Because she made sure that she enforced apply a lot of pressure, right? For where I am. So I'm still still grateful for you, mommy. Big up Stacy Paul. I love you, man.
Yeah, so let me be honest here. It was a wonderful show. We time up. It was a wonderful show. This is the first time that we have young people to come and emphasize but their life, and I feel very overwhelmed to hear different stories and different backgrounds, and where it was challenging. And I want a lot of young people out there to see that despite of where you stand within challenges, because all of us face different backgrounds, struggles, no shoes, etc. But we understand within ourselves and our stimulation that it is all on us to becomes and to become the best version of who we want to become. All right. So whatever goal or whatever things that you have intentionally want to achieve is all on you. Nobody can come and tell you you can't do that, and then you take on the chance and say, "Oh, I can't do that." You just know within yourself that there is nothing impossible. You just keep locking in. And when you make a mistake is there to change narratives. So something you try this apart here and you think you just switch. And when you switch, you got clean entrance. The entrance wasn't there just because you mistake. The entrance was on the opposite side. So this is good for you to continue trying on your dreams. All right? So we here once more in the shop straight talk with Gevon. And I want to say good night, kudos to all my followers and friends. Next week we're gonna be here back again live. I want everybody to keep supporting this channel because we're here to send a message out there to people or kids and parents to have a resolution in areas that they find effect and where they can challenge themselves to better themselves. All right. I want to say good night to everyone.